Hi all. In this video, we're going to run through our thoughts on the SEO implications of Shopify Editions. So Horizons is the latest, is the summer version of Editions, which was announced last week. And there's a ton of stuff in there that's really exciting, but not all of it is strictly related to SEO. And that's what we're going to focus on in this very short video. There's a ton of interesting stuff around like AI components, and a load of really cool functionality. But again, that's not something that we're going to drill down into here. Essentially, there are three things that we want to focus on. So first of all, from an SEO perspective, one of the really interesting things that's come up is the selling from multiple business entities feature. I know this is something that's been requested for a long time. And this essentially is the ability for brands to have multiple entities with different bank accounts and link that up to markets. So this has been a big problem historically, in that to use markets, you've needed to use a single bank account. And that's massively restricted from an operations perspective. So I think what we're going to see is more brands move over to markets, which has like loads of flexibility from an SEO perspective, and is going to make things a lot easier. So that's one thing that's super interesting. I think next is a more of a kind of FYI. So Shopify Catalog looks to be what was kind of related to the previous code leak, where it was uncovered that ChatGPT and OpenAI were working on a kind of a direct feed to a way to check out within ChatGPT. This is really important for a number of reasons. It kind of opens up a new discovery channel. And again, the e-commerce world has not really had an effective new discovery channel since Meta came along. And I think it really kind of reflects the direction that buying journeys are going in now. Now, Shopify Catalog is not available on all stores yet. We're on the notification list for our partners. But kind of what we see happening here is that your product data is effectively going to be fed into ChatGPT. What we want to be doing at this point is making sure that product data is as clean as possible, that we're using as many attributes, that the taxonomy is clear as possible, all of that kind of good stuff that's so foundational to the work that we do anyway. So like this is more a kind of, again, this is like an FYI, but it is important as ever for us to be focusing on product data and making sure that everything's nice and clean. And then that means that when this does come along, we'll be in a good position to move forward. Okay, so finally, the next one is knowledge base. And I think this is, again, quite exciting. What's happening here is Shopify has announced this app that allows you to push FAQs directly into ChatGPT. We can show you what this looks like on the Blink site, I believe. You can see here that there are a bunch of preset FAQs available, mostly to do with pricing, returns, etc. And then what you can do is add some custom FAQs in. This is basically, these are really, really simple meta objects. So they don't look to be tied to individual products at the moment. So this is mainly just kind of like brand level FAQs. But what we can see happening in future is that these can get tied at an individual product and category level. And really what this comes down to is at the moment, we want to be feeding as much good quality data into this as possible. So I think the other kind of point here is this is not visible on the store front at the moment. We've kind of put a little test in place on the Blink site, which you can see here, where we've customized the meta objects so they pull through onto the storefront like traditional FAQs, mainly just because we think that, like, if you're producing all of this good content, it should live somewhere. I guess from a kind of like advice perspective at the moment, compiling brand level FAQs is going to be really, really valuable. And I kind of think that, most of the businesses that we work with should be thinking about gathering this information, regardless of the format that it's going to be displayed in. Kind of what I mean by that is, like, this is just the start of this kind of system where we're feeding in kind of richer content into directly into ChatGPT. So to give us ourselves a kind of head start, with all of this in mind, what we want to be thinking about is kind of how can we capture this information ready for it to be kind of distributed in this way. So that's it. Like, there's some really, really interesting things going on at the moment. And for those of you that are working with us already, these are things that your account managers will be aware of and will be working into the roadmaps and kind of discussing on our catch-up calls.